out there in game action?
Yeah, it was great. Of course, a lot of people know that I had the injury last season, so it's kind of been a while since I've been on the football field. So, finally getting back on the football field and, doing what I love, it felt great.
Can you take us to the touchdown?
Yeah, it was something that, when I first did it, I kind of messed up, and I kind of, talked to myself of, dialing in on that, specific play and concept, and Drew and we executed on a high level. It was a great ball, and just kind of just let the rest take over. But Drew put that ball on the money, so it was good.
What do you think of the punt return that you had and making a couple guys miss and having the kind of quick feet to kind of move around guys and such, both on that and the touchdown catch?
Yeah, that's something I kind of, we practice on that practice. That's something that kind of just kicks in and take over once, you have the live bullets flying. And I was a little frustrated I didn't get out of that last tackle. I felt like I saw a lot of green grass, and, we'll go back to the film and, make sure we have some corrections on that.
Feel like you're taking to the punt return stuff here? Is that somewhere you think you can really add something to the mix?
Yeah, I feel like it's something that I enjoy doing. Of course, I want to do whatever I can to, help the team win. And I'm blessed enough to, have someone like Steve Sims, senior back there with me. And, he's kind of been showing me the ins and outs of, how to, see certain punts and just the coverage and things like that. So, shout out to Steve, man. He's a guru at that punt return. And, I love learning from him. And, he's a, great mentor for me.
Before you mentioned come back from the injury, can this first game where it's live tackling, is that good for you just to kind of get that out of the way, that you take some hits and get it right up?
Yeah, it's always good to go out there and take some live hits and things like that. At the end of the day, the injury is, past my mind. I kind of got that out of my mindset since I started going into OTAs and training camp. So, today was just, another day for me, and just trying to, get better. And, I know where I'm at, and the trainers know where I'm at, and, they're cutting me loose, and, it's time to go play ball now.
Tory, you've been kind of humble on the touchdown, going back to Brady's question. I mean, you had to do kind of spinorama on that. I know Drew gave you the ball, but can you take us to that point?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of just feel like, at the end of the day, in the receiver room, we all kind of just harp on, being end zone hungry. And, that's to, from Coop, that's from, Jax, Valdez, all those, older guys, and, even Coach Frisk, we want to find that end zone. We got to have a nose for the end zone, and that's something that we kind of practice on is, getting vertical and, making that next guy miss with, also protecting the ball. So, I don't know. I kind of just seen just had a vision, seeing my cue, and just made sure I, made that next guy miss getting vertical. So that's something we practice on every day.
I know it's just a preseason game, but how do you feel about the way that the rest of the offensive draft picks, like all you guys seem to have impact plays on those first two drives, and you were going to get starters, a lot of starters for the Raiders, and seeing Robbie with the block that he had, and Elijah's making plays, and Zabel in the trenches. And how do you feel about the way that entire group collectively played here in your first NFL action?
Yeah, it was great. Us rookies, we kind of all came together when we first got there, and we all had our little chat, and we were like, man, we got to go out there and improve ourselves. And I feel like that's something that we did today. And we all know that we got to get better, and we still got to execute at a higher level. And today was a great learning curve. It wasn't a perfect game, and going against the starters, it was great for us. That was a great way to get our feet wet for our first NFL game or preseason game, and we got a lot of stuff to learn from. But we all know our corrections, and it's a great group of guys. The rookies are excited to learn from the vets and things like that. So we hungry to just get better.
What, if anything, about this night you didn't expect?
I'm sorry, you said what?
What, if anything, was there about tonight you didn't expect your first NFL game?
I don't know. I don't know. I was kind of too locked in on the game. I felt like it was just a a dream for me. You know, it's something that I kind of dreamed of. I feel like it was everything that I could, ever ask for. I was excited to be back on the field and, to play for the Seahawks, and I'm just so blessed and fortunate that, the Seahawks came in, they got me and took a chance on me, and, that's all I can say. I'm really excited and, just learning to be the best I can.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, man.